Now, I'm constantly told that this doesn't work on eBay anymore. Not only does it still work on eBay, but if you're not doing it, you could actually lose your listings at a certain point because eBay has rules on length of time for your listings being active. Hey, it's Don. Today I wanted to address a few issues, a few comments and questions, including some from other YouTubers who have constantly been saying that end and sell similar does not work. Now, I've been doing end and sell similar for, since pretty much it was a thing. Probably at least 6 or 7 years I've been doing end and sell similar. And 100% yes, it still does work for us. We've got a routine. We do it twice a week normally for normal items. We also have changed and do a different routine where we do auto relists that eBay's set to auto relist and do those as end and sell similar before eBay can auto relist them because of that big glitch they had and we actually suffered through on February 28th. So, you know, we do a set routine. I do sales and markdown and several other things, but the end and sell similar does definitely 100% still work for us. It's repeatable. I've tested it over and over and over again. I can't say it works for everybody, but the majority of people who have large number of inventory up, a large quantity of listings, it does work to a certain degree across the board over and over and over and over again. It's not going to like change your whole business structure night and day, but it definitely gives you a boost on sales. And you can easily tell because items that you recently ended and sold similar, the very next day will get sales, movement, views, questions, and all that kind of thing. So you can see that it's working. It's not like some rando thing where you have to guess that it's working and hope that the sales you have coming in are from something that you did. End and sell similar works. Now on February 28th, we had a major glitch where a bunch of our listings were off the platform for around 5 hours or better, and may have been even more. That it happened while we were asleep, so who knows? It could have been 10,000 listings that weren't available for anybody to look at. And it went on for quite some time. We talked to the help desk. And one of the very first questions she asked when I said, hey, you know, what's going on? My listings are gone. They disappeared. She asked me, well, you know, how long have they been on the site and how did I list them? I said, well, we listed them on the site one by one, you know, and they've been on for, you know, years. Well, she says, well, after 2 years, if they haven't had a sale, we automatically end them and send them into your ended column. Have you checked her? And I had to go tell her, no, that's not part of what I'm talking about because we end and sell similar. None of my listings are older than 60 days at all. Right now, they're not even older than, say, 35 days, any of my listings. And I said, that's not the issue. And I asked her again, I says, well, so now the standard is after 2 years, you will end them and not announce it or anything else like that. Yes, that is the case. Now, I even verified that comment. I actually called back and talked to somebody else. Because again, I don't always trust when one help desk person tells me something. I want to make sure that that's a set policy because I hear all kinds of things that aren't true from eBay reps. You know, that's just life, not just eBay. Other companies have the same issues. But so I called back and I hear the same answer. I even asked somebody else that I know very well if they would contact eBay and ask that same question, and they got the exact same answer. And I know a large number of people come to me and say they're missing listings. It happens all the time. I hear it all the time. And, you know, I've brought up, do you end and sell similar? Do you do this? Do you do that? You know, and a lot of folks don't do end and sell similar because they don't think it works or they don't want to mess up their promoted listings or whatever the case may be. And in all honesty, it used to be 6 months they could end your listings or stop auto relisting them. So at the end of auto relist, it would just stop, meaning it would be ended and you'd have to relist it. Now they could actually move those to different columns and all this other stuff, you know, in the hub. So you need to be doing end and sell similar every so often. Once a year, every 6 months would be smart in my opinion. No longer than 6 months. A year if you want to be safe, because if they do go past that 2-year point, and eBay could change that policy at any point. It used to be 6 months, they'd stop auto relist, but Again, the point being here is part of missing listings could be that the listing had no sales for so long on the platform, and now eBay ended it. You didn't know that they would go to an ended column, or you just don't actually keep track of how many listings you have. We know how many listings we have at any point throughout the day, every day, and have for years, because we have had listings disappear in the past. So we've had photos disappear from thousands of our listings. Tens of millions of photos have disappeared, and other listings disappear. eBay has double listed our items and all kinds of other things like that. So stuff happens. So we keep track of morning, noon, and night, and I compare our numbers the next morning, make sure they match. If I add sales to my next morning numbers and look at the night before, those numbers should be the same. So I compare everything. So this is all part of the steps and processes you got to do to run a business to make sure that you're not losing, things are going the way they're supposed to do. You could be literally just missing a lot of listings because they've been on the platform for so long and eBay pulled them down. Now, stuff in ended columns in the hub and things like that, unsold listings in the hub, even your drafts, are only good for so long. So it used to be 30 days. So after 30 days, if there's like drafts and things, they could just be gone if you haven't used them in 30 days. There could be, listings that you ended and thought you'd come back to them at some point that could be gone after 30 days. eBay, we had eBay, ding us on a couple items. We pulled a bunch more down, and eBay wouldn't give us a straight answer on what if we were able to list these other ones over and over, and eventually some of them disappeared because eBay was giving us the runaround from it. We let people shop for a whole month. I have several folks that shop from us, 3 or 4 folks, and they'll buy a bunch of stuff over a 3 or 4 week time span. As long as they request an invoice in 30 days or less, I'm okay. Any listing that they didn't pay for over 30 days in my store, I can't send an invoice. I can't combine them. It's like it doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of items, if you don't catch it that eBay ended these after 30 days, could just be gone. Because again, there's time frame, there's a countdown window on a bunch of features on eBay. Whether it's 2 years, you may think that's great, now take care, but if you don't, you're not paying attention, you're not keeping track of what your oldest listings are in your store, and not doing it in sell similar because you think it doesn't work, you could be losing listings at some point because they're not selling. Now, it's not crazy to have listings up for 2 years. We've had listings up for 15 years or longer that haven't sold because everything has a point where it could sell. I don't pull anything down. When we've taken all the time, effort, and money into getting the listing up, why would I just throw that away and pull it down when I can just keep letting it run till it sells? We sell stuff all the time that have been up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years on our site. It doesn't matter that it takes the time to sell. It's just like an antique mall. They've got tons of stuff in there, and stuff might sit in that store for years and years before the right person comes in and buys it. And the same way on the internet. A lot of folks don't get that, but that's how the internet works too. That's how eBay works with, bigger sellers and stuff. You put it up and you just forget about it. It doesn't cost me any more money to keep it up. Why would I ever take it down? So to say, why would you want things up over 2 years to begin with? Who cares how long they're up? You might have bought 50 items, you might have sold 10 items and made $300, $400 in profit. Why would you take the rest down? Because they can still sell over time. We sell stuff almost every day of the week. I sell something that's been up for more than 5 years, sometimes more than 10 years. So again, there's no reason to take anything down on eBay if it's not costing you anything else to just let it keep running. So that's why you would need to end and sell similar to make sure that they're not disappearing off the platform to begin with. Because again, there's time frames on everything else. Now, the reason why we end and sell similar is because it does give us a boost, as I said in the beginning. As I've said many, many times in many other videos, we do get a boost from doing end and sell similar. It's not all we do. I do sales and markdown in the same days of the week that I do end and sell similar, Mondays and Wednesdays. I always have sales running. I actually compensate the day I list the item. I have a markup percentage I do on items. In that way, when I do want to discount or mark it down or send an offer to a watcher, I've got the room to do it. I do it just like corporate America does. I do this sales and markdown with a higher starting price because it's the same basic thing as a perceived value you get when you do a sales in a store, retail, department store, whatever the case may be. I worked in corporate America. That's the kind of thing that actually works, just like $9.99 instead of $10. Perceived, $9.99 is perceived as far less than 1 penny more at $10. And that's a fact. There's been study after study, without telling people what the study was about and, what's your perception on this number, what's your perception on that. More people would buy the $9.99 as opposed to a $10 one because it's less than that 4-digit number of a $10 bill. It's $9 in pocket change. Everything we do these days is done for a reason. We have certain results we get out of it, and end and sell similar is just one of those. I don't care if people think that the eBay's changed it all and it doesn't work. New items to the platform always get better views. They always get better views because it's something new to somebody. It's something that was just listed. eBay pushes them. Most people, when they're searching for collectibles and rarities and stuff, go from the newest first. They'll look at what was just listed, and they'll just look every day, every other day or something, so that they don't miss anything that was listed on the platform. A true diehard collector in a collectible niche or something looks at newly listed items first all the time. And that's the number one category. Or they'll look at ending soonest just in case they missed something when they first listed the item. But those are usually what you're looking at, those specific ones. That's why running a sale is the last day of the sale. It will say ending soon the sale. You want to get in. So there's all this aspect on why we do and why this kind of stuff works. Why end and sell similar works. Why I can test it and it always gives me the same results. Why I can always tell when I'm not doing end and sell similar after a certain length because I'm not getting the same amount of sales. You can test it yourself. You end and sell similar a bunch of listings, you're going to sell and get action on those listings. To me, promoted listings doesn't work. It may work for 100 other people out there, but it doesn't work for me. I'm not going to say it's not a working feature. I'm just going to tell you, just like I tell everybody, try out everything that you can think of, what people recommend to you. Don't just assume it's working. Try it out and test it. Don't just test it. Run a baseline. Have something to compare it to. Just because you do some action doesn't mean that the sales that came after that are because of that action. There could be other factors going on. It has to be repeatable to be an actual feature that works for you. We test everything, and I test thousands of listings in any test that I do so I can make sure that it works. And I test it over a couple of times, again, to make sure I get the same results so it's not just some one-off. I don't want to waste my time running end and sell similar or any of this other stuff if it doesn't work. I wouldn't spend the time to do it if it didn't work. And it does work, and it's repeatable, and it's verifiable. I can show it to you on a spreadsheet that it works. If it works for me, it may work for you or it may not work for you. You have to test it all yourself. So again, it all comes down to knowing your store, taking chances and testing stuff out to see what actually works for you. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Rebo's got the beat, and the band plays on. You can relive it all with Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi Collection. Introducing Size Noodles and the Rebo Band. Jabba the Hutt action playset sold separately.
Play it again, Size. Starring Size Noodles. Droopy McCool on clarinet, Max Rebo on organ. Ribbit, Rebo. Dance, Droopy. It's your last solo, Snoodles. Whoa.
New Size Noodles and the Rebo Band. Jabba the Hutt action playset sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi Collection.